Okay, it's preparing.
And how long do you usually, once you?
As long as you want. We're live already.
Yeah, but I mean, I figure you wait just a couple of minutes.
Yeah. As long as you want. We're live already.
Yeah, but I mean, I figure.
You may want to mute.
Close the tab.
Just mute the
I
TV.
just need to close the tab.
We're live already. Okay. We are waiting for other people to join. We are live. And welcome everybody.
Anthony, you're looking at me like I'm going to say something. Or do we just wait? Or we just talk and?
We do a little bit of both.
I see. I can't dance, so I mean,
Well,
I
don't know anybody wants to.
And you don't want to hear me sing, so.
Oh, me neither.
Okay.
One can
No,
say so.
no, absolutely not.
Everybody saying good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I didn't get coffee before we started, so Missy, I hope you're having enough for me. There you go.
I love that cup. That's beautiful.
So we have people joining. So if you want to call the meeting to order, I think we can go ahead and get started, and people will be joining as we do our.
Okay, well, good. Good morning. My name is Lee Jinks. I'm the current president of Greater McAllen Association of Realtors, here with Monica Pena. She is our CEO, and this is the Greater McAllen Association of Realtors general membership meeting for June, and we are going to get it started. I call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the invocation, and then are we going to do the pledges? Yeah, it does say pledges. Yes, we do. We'll do the invocation and pledges. So I'll start us off. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for just this wonderful country that we live in. We thank you for just the opportunities that are presented to us each and every day. We ask for your guidance and your blessing for each of us in our businesses, in our personal lives, and all that we do. We pray that we can honor you in all that we do. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, well, let's stand and we'll do our pledges to the U.S. flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. And for those of you who are not Texans with us, I guess if you've hung around as much, you know that we're kind of our own. We do our own thing, don't we? So again, I've introduced myself. I welcome you to the general membership meeting for the Greater McAllen Association of Realtors. And our first item on the agenda is introduction of our featured affiliate. And so everyone knows the queen of home warranties, Nancy Annison. Nancy, it's all yours at the moment.
Oh, I love it when it's all mine and when I have a captive audience. Good morning. Good morning. So a couple of things. Thank you for the opportunity. A couple of things that I want to discuss. Number one, ACs, right? It's 168 degrees in our world. Everybody gets a warranty for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason is the AC. So 16 years I've been preaching this. I'm going to do it again today because people hear things at different times, and I'm aware of that. So ACs, the less information, if you're a buyer's agent, the less information you get on the AC, the more you want to check it out. Okay. What I mean by that is I want a buyer's agent to ask the simple questions. How old is the AC? When was the last time it was serviced? If the answer to that is, oh my gosh, my people have it checked out regularly once a year, you can feel good about that. That means someone licensed, someone professional is looking out for that AC. And if there's any questions, we've got someone we can talk to. But please hear me. When the response to that question is, oh my gosh, I can't remember the last time anyone looked at it. Please, please, please have an HVAC inspection. There's a big difference between a general home inspection and an HVAC inspection. Your general home inspector tells you that the unit comes off and on and that it blows cool air. It doesn't tell you anything else than that, okay? And it's hard for the warranty company to have that conversation afterwards when we find out there were a lot of things wrong with the AC before. And I'm being very honest with you. This is the response that I get a lot of times. Nancy, we were concerned that there were some issues with the AC, but my people didn't have the money to have it checked out. I don't know how to respond to that because a couple of hundred on the front end could save them thousands on the back end. I don't ever want to bust a deal. You guys know that. I sold real estate for a lot of years. But to my buyer's agents, during your option period, if you don't have any information on the AC, during your option period, ask the seller to have the unit cleaned and serviced and found to be in good and proper working order. Seems to me that's a perfect time to do that. Still the seller's responsibility, okay? To my listing agents, I'm going to say the same thing. When you take that listing, ask those same questions about the AC. If the AC is going to be an issue, you need to know that up front, not in the middle of your transaction. I know in this market, it's crazy, and I am aware that a lot of properties are being sold without a warranty because you want your contracts clean. You don't want to ask for something because you want your client to get that property. So I remind you that we don't know who pays for the warranty and we don't care. It's your buyer that's protected for a year after closing. So have that conversation with your buyer. Let them know they can buy the warranty if they want to on their own. It can be part of closing, or they can close, pick up the phone, call us, and order it then. One other thing I want to talk about that's come up quite a few times here recently, specific to the AC, but also other things. If something is still under the manufacturer's warranty, I'm going to say that again. The AC is 4 years old. It comes with a 5-year warranty from the manufacturer. The warranty company is not going to fix it. We're going to send you to the manufacturer. It's their warranty. They stand behind it. And to be fair, if something breaks in 3 or 4 years, the manufacturer needs to make it right. So to my buyer's agents, again, when you're asking for that seller's disclosure, say, how old is the AC? Oh, it's only 3 years old. Is there still a warranty on that? May we have the warranty information? At the end of the day, don't be a dum-dum, okay? Don't be a dum-dum. Ask all the right questions. Remember that older public always goes the extra mile for you. If you don't have one of our pretty new brochures in your office, please reach out to me and let me know. I'm at the post office every other day. It's my pleasure to send these to you. And I also want to say, if anyone is doing live meetings, live events, you want me to come down, visit with your agents, if you need me, you just need to let me know. It's been over a year since I've been to the Valley. I miss you guys like crazy, but so far, no one has reached out and specifically said there's an event that we need you at. Okay, so please, please let me know. You guys know I'm super, super easy to get in touch with, and I love your questions all day long. I'm happy to have those conversations. And this would probably be the right time to say this again, because last time my phone literally did almost blow up. If I were there in person, I would be giving things away. You guys know I love to give. I would have come in with a basket full of things to give away. It's a little harder when I'm at home and you're there. And so pecans are the only thing I can offer you. So once again, I'm prepared for this. If you can hear my voice, if you can see my face, if you want pecans, you know what to do. Reach out to me. I need to know who you are and where to send them. And I'll be making pecans all weekend. Thank you, GMAR, for the opportunity to be with y'all and to help sponsor. this. I miss you guys a bunch.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy. That's very generous of you. And I'll just say it once again, you just get more beautiful every time I see you.
I know, right? It's
Isn't that right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, awesome. Thanks a lot. Thanks again. Next item on our agenda is hot topics for broker risk reduction. Today we have with us Rodney Gansho. He is the director, he's the NAR Director of Engagement, and he's here to update us for the NAR happenings, and he will address some local issues. If you have questions for him during his talk, just put them in the chat and we'll address those if we can. So do put those in the chat and we'll do that. Rodney, welcome.
In the comments.
No,
We'll go in the comments
Oh.
on the Facebook Live event,
Okay.
and Humberto's watching those, and so he'll be putting them into the chat for us.
Great, thank you. Rodney, you're up.
Thank you. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Lee, thank you very much for the intro. Monica, thank you for the invitation. Great to see all my friends in Texas. We're on the other side of this pandemic. It makes me excited. I don't know about you all, but here I'm from Chicago, and in Chicago, everybody is out of their house. In Chicago, we have weather that, it gets pretty cold. Once you hit 30 degrees, everybody's in shorts in Chicago, at least a few crazies. And the people are in shorts even earlier than that this year. And I don't think anybody's going to go back home. They're going to stay outside and party like it's 1999. Thank you again. Great to see you guys. I have been invited and asked to talk about hot topics. Specifically, Monica and I talked yesterday to discuss hot topics related to MLS. And we know there's a lot of them, right? There's a lot of things happen right now in the real estate industry. A lot of it related to low inventory. I'm sure you guys in Texas have low inventory. It's all over the country, which leads to a lot of different things and different business practices and issues that come up. So that's definitely the impetus for a lot of what's been going on. Surprising thing is we've had low inventory for years now, and we didn't think it could get any lower. And then this past year, boy, it got lower, didn't it? Lawrence Yun, our economist, says that that's going to get better. So hang in there. We're going to get to somewhat of a more normal market as things move ahead. But for right now, the things we're going to talk about in MLS Hot Topics is clear cooperation. This is something that deals with off MLS listings, and in a low inventory environment, you may have that come about. We're also going to talk about property information displayed on social media, right? You have access, as MLS participants, you have access to a lot of information, and you have the ability to use that information in specific ways, but you got to be careful to make sure that you're doing things you should be doing and avoiding the things that you shouldn't. And then lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about reporting licensees to the service and the waivers that are available to licensees nowadays. Believe it or not, we're hitting a record number of realtors around the country. It happens here and there in different ebbs and flows of the economy. The National Association is going to hit 1.5 million members, or already has hit 1.5 million members, a record for the National Association as far as membership numbers. But it shows that we have new people entering the business. With new people entering the business, you're going to want to, if you're a principal broker, know about when to report those licensees and what options there are for waivers. So I'm going to jump right in and talk about clear cooperation. Clear cooperation, a little background for you guys. Clear cooperation was a policy that was discussed by the NAR MLS Technology and Emerging Issues Advisory Board. That is a subset of NAR's MLS Issues and Policy Committee. The MLS Issues and Policy Committee is like 120 people, representatives from all across the country, from practitioners to MLS executives, all shapes and sizes of companies and MLSs and markets. The advisory board's a small subset of that. It's about 20-something people, seasoned individuals, again, brokers and MLS executives. The advisory board does a deep dive into any policy consideration. They meet in advance of the two national meetings, and they come forward with any recommendations that they think we should be looking at a national level. Clear cooperation was one of those policies. And I can tell you that the issues around clear cooperation have been something we've talked about since 2014, I think is the earliest I can recall. In California, they had a real issue with off MLS listings. And the California Association did an excellent job of educating and promoting the benefits of joining the multiple listing service and putting listings on the multiple listing service. That's how they approached it. So since 2014 to 2019, when Clear Cooperation was adopted, in one way or another, the issue of off MLS listings was discussed. There was never a feeling that we needed to address it on a national level or how we could address it on a national level until Clear Cooperation came about. Clear Cooperation is very narrow in focus, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. It's not designed to eliminate all off MLS listing issues. It's designed to address a specific situation where it's clear that these listings should be put into the multiple listing service. So let's talk a little bit about the basics. MLS participants and subscribers are required to submit all exclusively listed properties and specific property types to the MLS. This is nothing new. This is pre Clear Cooperation. Your MLS rules and regulations, and Monica, we didn't get a chance to talk about it. You have a filing deadline as to once you get all the signatures signed on the listing contract for when you have to file that listing with the multiple listing service. That has not changed under Clear Cooperation. Clear Cooperation talks about 1 business day, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, but your filing deadline may be more than that, right? So just be aware that you have an obligation as an MLS participant, as a subscriber, that once you get the listings, the signatures on the listing contract, to file that listing with the multiple listing service. Next, we're going to talk about where a seller's interests call for it. Listings can be exempt from distribution to other MLS participants and subscribers, typically referred to as a waiver or an office exclusive listing. Again, the important phrase here is when the seller's interests call for it. So agents, brokers, they should be having conversations with the seller as to what their interests are. Is it privacy? Is it trying to get the highest price for their property? You should also have a conversation about the benefits of the MLS and why it's important to put it into the most important tool that you have in your tool belt for selling that property. And where the seller and you make a seller and the broker make a determination that, you know what, it's the best interest to take an office exclusive, you still file it with the MLS. There's a waiver form you likely have to file. The MLS's waiver can have an ability to create their own waiver forms. Some have developed pretty extensive forms that explain the benefits of the MLS so that the seller is clear that they understand what they're doing and the ramifications of what they're doing when they don't distribute that listing to other MLS participants. So follow your rules and regulations. Make sure you're following the protocol with regard to taking an office exclusive or an exempted listing. And then the last check mark here is about Clear Cooperation. And this is that narrow focus that I talked about. If the listing is publicly marketed and it's a mandatory property type that must be filed with the MLS, you have 1 business day from when that listing is publicly marketed to put it in the multiple listing service for cooperation with the other participants and subscribers. The policy itself is very simple and concise. Within 1 business day of marketing a property to the public, the listing broker must submit the listing to the MLS for cooperation with other MLS participants. Public marketing includes, but is not limited to. The important phrase there, but is not limited to. Flyers displayed in windows, yard signs, digital marketing on public-facing websites, brokerage website displays, including IDX and BOW, digital communications, marketing, email blasts, multi-brokerage listing sharing networks, and applications available to the general public. So that phrase, and not limited to. What are some of the other examples that may come into play when you talk about public marketing? I think a simple way to frame it is if there's any sharing or distribution of that listing outside of the listing firm. If you're sharing it with an agent from another brokerage, if you're sharing it through a private network on Facebook or something along those lines. Although the word private's in there, when you distribute that listing outside of the listing firm, that's considered public marketing. And that triggers CCP. So at that point, 1 business day that should be filed within the multiple listing service. I talked about that filing deadline in section 1 of your rules. If your filing deadline is generous, in some markets, it can be as high as 4 or 5 days that you have because they want to give the brokers an opportunity to do everything they need to and getting photos and things like that. If you publicly market that listing within that 5 days, you have 1 business day to file that with the multiple listing service. Most MLSs have a 24-hour or a 48-hour filing deadline under Section 1. So that doesn't really come into play for clear cooperation, but just be aware of the fact that if the listing's not yet filed with the MLS, not yet available to the other participants and subscribers, that once you do publicly market the listing, that you have to file it with the MLS and distribute it to participants within 1 business day. And then I want to cover some common questions that we typically get. I've kind of covered some of these. Can the listing firm share property information with other brokerages? You can. The policy doesn't say you can't. You can share listing information with other brokerages, but if you do so, that's an indication that market exposure and distribution of that listing is in the seller's interest, and that you should be putting it in the MLS so that everyone is aware of that listing and can share that information with their buyers. Can limited property information be advertised? Some examples are, if I don't include the address, that's not public marketing. That's not true. If you're advertising anything about a particular property, whether it's a photo or property information without the address or anything else, that's publicly marketing. And you have 1 business day at that point to file it with the multiple listing service. When is a listing not required to be filed with the service? There are a few examples. The MLS has its service area. So every listing within the MLS service area must be filed with the multiple listing service. If you're outside the service area, that's a voluntary submission. You don't have to file the listing with the MLS. It's at your discretion, and CCP is not applicable at that point if it's a voluntary submission. If it's of a property type that does not require mandatory submission, an example might be rental properties or commercial properties. I'm not sure what McAllen has as its mandatory property types, but realize if it's a property type that does not require mandatory submission, then CCP does not cover it, and there's not an obligation to file it with the multiple listing service. Another example, another question, must the listing filed with the MLS be available for display on the internet through IDX and VOW? So CCP kicks in. You've done something in publicly marketing that requires the listing to be filed with the MLS and distributed to other participants. There still is an ability through IDX and VOW for the seller to withhold display on the internet. And if they withhold display on the internet, then it's not distributed through the internet, through IDX VOW. So the information, what CCP is really getting at is sharing information among brokers. But there still is an ability for the seller to either withhold their whole listing information from distribution on the internet, or even just withhold their address from information on the internet. And then my last question here is, how does CCP impact fair housing compliance? This is an important aspect of CCP that protects brokers and sellers. The MLS itself is an enormous tool with regard to fair housing advocacy in that it's information available to everybody. Well, CCP, what it's indicating now is that if you share information with a select group of people, or provided, whether it's brokers or potential purchasers, you may inadvertently be targeting a protected class or omitting a protected class. So for when CCP indicates that it's publicly marketed, it's shared outside the listing firm, when you put it in the MLS, you're afforded those protections of fair housing because it's then shared with everyone. Without it, there were some actions and activities that brokers could have participated in that might call into question some of their activities under fair housing. So good fair housing compliance with regard to CCP as an added benefit to sharing information with other participants and really using the economies of scale and the efficiencies of the MLS. The core tenets of the MLS are efficiency, transparency, and cooperation, and CCP tries to embody all of that. Some information, resources available to you with regard to clear cooperation. You can find it. We have a designated page for clear cooperation out there. You'll find our language for the model rules. You'll find some FAQs. After a year of experience, we are right now updating those FAQs and adding some more information to it. So good information there, and you'll see some updated FAQs within the next probably 2 weeks or so. And that concludes my comments with regard to clear cooperation. Monica, Lee, do you want me to stop there and see if there's any questions with regard to clear cooperation that I can address, or do you want me to continue and take questions at the end?
You can continue. We've been watching and there are no questions at the moment.
All right, I'll take that as a sign that I'm doing an excellent job of communicating the information, and I have answered all your questions even before you were able to ask them. So the next thing we're going to jump into is social media display of listings. Everyone's on social media, right? Probably some of you are on social media right now while listening to me. But you have to be careful when you talk about displaying MLS listing information on social media. So let's talk a little bit. When can a broker display another broker's listings? Well, we've talked a lot about it already, right? It's IDX, which is akin to online advertising. There's a specific set of rules and regulations around that where you have to identify the listing firm, you have to update the information within so many hours and so on and so forth. There's a framework. There's an accepted framework for when another broker can advertise your listing. Same is true for VOW. VOW is slightly different. VOW stands for Virtual Office Website, in that it's akin to online brokerage. What you can do in a bricks and mortar office, you should be able to do online, and that's what VOW attempts to accomplish. VOW is different than IDX in that you have to establish and enter into a relationship with that broker where you're accessing that information prior to getting access to it. And then the last example of when you can display another broker's listings is the catch-all, right? It's when you have authorization from the listing broker. IDX and VOW established that authorization. If it's not IDX or VOW and you're looking to do it on social media or somewhere else, Section 2.7 kicks in. Section 2.7 of your rule says a listing may not be advertised by any participant other than the listing broker without prior consent of the listing broker. So if you see a listing and you say, boy, I love this, I would love to start marketing this in some fashion, I think I can find a buyer for this property, and you want to do it in a way that's not IDX or VOW, make sure that you contact that listing broker to get their authority before marketing the property that way. And that includes social media. If you want to put it on your Facebook page or you want to put it on another social media platform, reach out to the listing broker and make sure that they're comfortable with doing what you're doing. Same thing would apply to if you want to create the marketing sheets, the printed hard copy materials, or any other marketing piece. If it's not already authorized, which likely it isn't, make sure that you reach out to the listing broker to get that authorization before taking any action. Otherwise, you're going to be in violation of 2.7, and you might trip over some other things related to license law and things like that. Resources for this, we have the IDX webpage, we have a VOW webpage, includes again model language FAQs and more, but just be cautious about advertising information in a manner that is not already provided for by your MLS, for example, IDX and VOW. That's my brief comments with regard to social media advertising. Lee, Monica, we have any questions yet?
There's two in the comments, in the chat. I'm sorry. We've, if you can maybe look at those.
Well, yeah, and I'll read it out loud so everyone can see it. It says, what about properties that are not recorded? In today's market, residential developers developments are being reserved before it's even recorded. How can we promote something or add it to the MLS when it's not even recorded? I guess I had to read it a couple of times earlier to see if I understood. I guess what we're talking about is a brand new development that's not recorded at the county level yet.
Thank you, Lee. So and I think this relates more to CCP, right, and getting it into the MLS than it is about displaying on social media. So there are some exemptions to the clear cooperation policy. One of them is commercial. The other is rental properties, that there's no obligation to submit commercial or rental on a national level, by the way. And then the third is multi-unit new developments, that CCP does not apply to those three on a national level. If your MLS wants to, you can locally establish an obligation to submit those listings to the MLS. and you can establish applicability under clear cooperation, meaning if they have an obligation to submit rental listings to the MLS, and then there's public marketing for rental listings, that there would be one business day to file that with the MLS. You can do that locally. And you'll want to address the questions as to what local application there is to Monica and her leadership. As far as new developments, there's only an obligation to submit it to the MLS once there is something that can be exclusively listed. With a new development, and this is why there's the exemption, right? It's different. Same thing with commercial, they're just different. And there's likely not an obligation to submit that to the MLS. Plus, some brokers may enter into what's called master listing agreements. That isn't an exclusive listing contract for a particular property. So that master listing agreement doesn't kick in and establish the obligation to submit all the properties related to that. It's something more. It's likely a marketing piece, or it's some other contractual relationship between the broker and that new developer. With new developments, what's important to realize is your MLS can work with your new developers, right, and your brokerage community that engage in the sale of new developments to figure out your best approach for getting those listings in the MLS. Obviously, we want the listings in the MLS. It's to the builder's advantage. It's to the other participants' advantage. It's to the advantage of the buyers who are looking for properties. So if you haven't yet, and this is a concern in the McAllen area, then I would encourage you to reach out to your brokerage community, reach out to your new developers, and see what you can do to try to address their concerns and their business practices to see how you can get those listings into the multiple listing service. But if there's no exclusive listing contract, there's no obligation to put it in the MLS in the first place.
And I'm glad you addressed that, Rodney, because that was what would be my response is, how is that property being identified in your listing agreement with the seller? If there is no listing agreement, then the clear cooperation policy would not apply. But you have to have a specific property identified in your listing agreement so that if there is an offer made, there is an offer made on a specific property. So that is, kind of the information I wanted to share.
Exactly, Monica. Thank you. Anything else?
We do have one more question, and this one does apply to your social media. It says, may an agent market shared listings from the MLS into their brokerage website, i.e., may I share new listings on market from my website on my social media pages?
Can I share new listings? So if it's the brokers, like if they're the listing broker, you can share and market properties however you want. You control the marketing of those listings. However, if it's a listing of another MLS participant, you're limited in your marketing of that to displays that are consistent with the IDX rules and the VOW rules, which would not include social media. Social media does not have an ability to automatically update a listing within the 12-hour requirement in IDX and VOW, which is the biggest constraint. There's also an optional provision in IDX and VOW that talks about no advertising in connection with a display of IDX and VOW information, and where you have the branding of the social media platform or perhaps other advertisements and banner ads that would likely run afoul of that rule as well.
Good, thank you.
All right, I'm going to move along. My third and last topic.
There's one more question.
Oh, you do? Go ahead.
Okay, Humberto, you want to just read it out?
Yeah. What are the GMAR CCP exemptions, if we have any?
Say that one more time.
They were asking what are the exemptions for GMAR members, and those exemptions are what have already been identified that you provided. So
that would be commercial properties, rental properties, and new developments with multi-units. Commercial properties, rental properties, new development of multi-units. Okay, my third and last topic of my MLS hot topic list is reporting licensees to the MLS and waivers. Like I said, there's new licensees entering the business right now, so good to be aware of what obligations as a principal broker you have for reporting that information to the MLS. Reporting licensees. So the first thing you want to do is must report once affiliated with your MLS office. If you have a new licensee in your MLS office, make sure that the multiple listing service is aware of this individual. I don't know, Monica, if you have a specific time frame for when that has to be reported. On a national level, I think it's a reasonable standard that it has to be reported within a reasonable amount of time with the affiliation with the MLS office.
That is correct. Mhm.
Okay. This impacts the MLS participants' reoccurring participation fees. Participation fees can be assessed solely to the participant for every licensee affiliated with them. Some MLSs charge the licensees directly. I'm not sure what McAllen does, but you want to make sure that those licensees who are newly affiliated with the office, that the MLS is aware of them so that they can either charge the participant the reoccurring participation fee, or they can now start assessing that licensee the participation fee. Participation fees are prorated. On a national level, it's prorated monthly. McAllen may do something different, but there is proration. So make sure that when you be aware that when you report that to the MLS, that they're not going to be looking for a year's MLS fees, that there's going to be a proration included with that. And then one of the more key things here is that there are waivers available to licensees. So you report the licensee, it's new, he's new, she's new, and that licensee is affiliated with a broker who belongs to more than one multiple listing service. And that licensee is not going to work the market of the one MLS, that they're really more focused on the other MLS, that there is now a waiver, and there has been for the past 3 years or so, where a licensee who does not use or benefit from an MLS can obtain a waiver. So if a waiver is granted, what that means is that the waived licensee cannot receive access to the MLS listing information or benefit from other MLS services, whether that's lockboxes, forms, or anything else, that the licensee has made a conscious decision. I don't want that MLS subscription. I don't benefit from it. I don't use any of the information, and therefore I don't have to pay for it, right? Makes perfect sense. Waived licensees also cannot file listings with the service or be identified as the contact for any listing in the service. Now remember, the principal broker, right? He's the participant in all of these MLSs. And as a principal broker in all these MLSs, he has an obligation, she has an obligation to file that listing with the MLS. But if this is a listing that is being serviced by an agent who has been waived, that agent, the McAllen MLS, does not want that listing filed with the MLS because the licensee has waived out. And if the broker puts it in, you can't identify that agent who's been waived, right? That's trying to circumvent the whole thing here. They're benefiting from the MLS at that point. Obviously, the MLS wants to get as many listings as it can. And if you have a broker or participant who has received a waiver, is interested in a waiver, but still sees benefits in participating or subscribing to a particular MLS, then maybe it's worth the added fees and the added costs of bringing a subscriber to that MLS, even if only for a part-time or a seasonal benefit of joining that multiple listing service. And then the last item I have here is that waive recipients must subscribe to another MLS of their principal broker. As long as a licensee subscribes to at least one MLS, they can receive a waiver of all the other MLS subscription fees that broker participates in. But again, it means they're not subscribing to the MLS, they're not benefiting from that MLS. For information related to this, we have a designated page for this one too. This is commonly referred to MLS of choice. And there's a web page, you see the URL on the screen. You'll find background related to it, policy changes, videos, FAQs. There was a lot of information, a lot of interest when this policy change came about. And I think with the new resurgence of licensees coming to the market, that we're seeing more interest in this as well. And that concludes my comments with regard to this. I am happy to answer questions about MLS of choice, the other two topics, or really anything related to MLS policy. Or you can try and stump me with any other question too. I've been with NAR for 30 years. I came from the policy area. I'm very familiar with professional standards, MLS membership, all of the above. And I welcome any questions that you may have that I can help you guys with.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Rodney. No, we were looking in, and I don't have any additional questions for you. As you were saying, I think you've covered things so clearly that you've pretty much answered any questions we've already had. Thank you again for joining us and getting us up to date on these hot topics.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Enjoy this other side of the pandemic. I know I will, and everybody else will in Chicago. And we hope to see you in person sometime soon.
Yes, I do. I do hope to, in fact, I'm kind of excited. We're going to start traveling here real soon. And so we'll start to see each other pretty soon again. And next up on our agenda is CCIM. I am extremely excited about the fact that we are going to have a CCIM course here in the Valley. Anything, I guess, south of San Antonio. My understanding, this is the first course south of San Antonio. A year or two ago, Pius was here and did an introductory course for us. And I took that course. I really thought it was great. It's kind of a refresher for me. I took CCIM 101 back in the 80s. I want to say we either use an abacus or a 12C, an ASP 12C. So I don't know if maybe we've updated since then, but we're really excited about that. And Pius Leung is the instructor for this course. And Pius, welcome. Just let us know what to expect when you come down to give us that course.
Good morning, everybody. Lee, thank you, and Monica, thank you for allowing me a few minutes to talk about the CCIM 101 classes. So, like Lee mentioned, I came down to McAllen maybe 2 years in a row to do the introduction class. It's a 2 days class. Just kind of provided the overall overview of commercial real estate, how does that work. So as we're going into this upcoming 4 days class in August, if I can maybe back up a little bit, give a background. The 101 is considered as one of the core courses for those who are interested in pursuing the CCIM destination. CCIM Institute is certainly a member, family member of NAR. So we are one of their society council, so forth. So 101 is built around financial analysis. So the way we're looking at is what will be the right way to look at an investment. Okay. I learned quite a few things this morning from Rodney. I absolutely have no knowledge on the residential side of our business, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm sure many of you are expert in that field, and I am not. And I'd be the first to tell people. I even have a fellow residential realtor who helped my son to buy his first house when he moved back to Houston from Norway. So I said, I really can't tell you much about the market. I just don't know enough to provide this service. In the same tone, meaning if we happen to run into an investment opportunities, we might not be able to answer or provide the necessary service to our prospective investors. I can remember a few years ago, I've been teaching the CCIM class now since 2003, so it's almost 18 years now. I can remember something happened to me a few years ago, and in a regular CCIM class, I have 3 doctors sitting in my class. All I can recall is one is an emergency doctor, one is a dentist, and then the third one, I just can't remember what specialty he or she is in. So my curiosity piqued us, why are they here? Why are they in my class? I mean, they are absolutely busy enough. They're smart people. I mean, at least according to themselves, doctors are all smart people per se. So I said, they're smart. Why are they here in my class? If there's a day off, they should enjoy golfing, go fishing, and do whatever they want to do. So during one of the break, I pulled them aside. I said, "Hey, tell me, why are you here? Why are you spending a few days in this class?" Well, the answer that provide me kind of resonate with me since that day. And he said, well, the reason I'm here, I just want to make sure the realtors is not lying to me. So again, I'll say that again. The reason the doctors, quote unquote, investors, they decided to attend the class. They're not trying to be expert in real estate, but they just want to make sure the realtors that are working with them are not making things out for them. Okay. And in today's arena, I'd be the first to admit, a lot of my customers are a lot smarter than I am. They probably know a lot of answers before they even ask me the questions. So can you imagine if someone asks you questions and lo and behold, you really don't have answers? Things like, hey, what is an NOI? What is a cap rate? What is an internal rate of return? What is a net present value on buying this investment? They're all commercial terms that people are using in the investment side of the real estate. So if someone asks me a question, I don't know the answers. Can you imagine if I mix something up? How dangerous can that be? The chances are whoever asking me that question, he or she might have the answers already. So I'm kind of bring that up a little bit. Yes, the 101 is really the fundamental class for anyone who look at using real estate as an investment. So who will be benefit out of it? Of course, people who definitely want to pursue the CCIM designation because it is a required class, definitely. But actually, this class should be beneficial to every one of us as long as we have interest in making investment in the real estate business. It really doesn't matter whether you're buying a single family rental home or a million square feet office building. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the game, you have income, you have expenses, you have NOI, you have net cash flow. Then at the end of the day, what is my return if I'm buying this investment? A lot of, statistically from the CCIM Institute, a lot of people come through the 101 class. They took the class and they move on, never come back because they don't want to. Number one, they are not interested in the destination, but they want to come and learn the right way of looking at an investment. And I think that is pretty much the core reason why 101 does have such an interest. And I certainly assure you, you will be able to walk away with some material, some knowledge at the end of this 4 days class. I believe that the class is scheduled for August 23rd to 26th as a Monday through Thursday. Event is going to be a full 8 hours class plus some homework at night. So Lee, I hope I answered your question with a long
You have. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, I wanted to just add to it. I mean, the fact that you talk about things like NOI and cap rate and internal rate of return, it's nice to be able to throw those terms out there and act like you know what you're talking about, but you've made the comment and you've kind of tried to illustrate the fact that not only just knowing those terms, but knowing what they mean. And more importantly, in this class, you're going to learn how to calculate those numbers and be able to work with them and know what you can do with them. I mean, I can say cap rate, but if I don't know what it means and what I can do with it, it's worthless. Right. And I think that's what's so important here. We've got just not a question, but a comment from one of our members saying that, and I think it's kind of gone up a little further, but basically they're saying that they've taken a couple of courses with you, that you are a great teacher and you are a wealth of knowledge. She says, do not miss this opportunity. If you are considering working in not just commercial real estate, but any kind of real estate in which generates income producing properties of any kind, this is a course you need, whether you get the designation or not. If you don't take it here, now you've got a week-long stay somewhere at a ritzy hotel and add the cost of the hotel to it. So this is going to save you a significant amount of money for you to take it, plus the fact that it's just convenient because it's here and here locally. We do have a question here. It says, are we understanding correctly? The CCIM certification is open to the public, meaning I don't have to be a realtor in order to earn it. Comment. If so, those of us who want to earn this title as realtors definitely should strengthen our value propositions for the clients as and stay on top of mind. So I guess that the question is it open to the public?
Okay, so from the education side, absolutely. Anybody who have interest in learn something different, they certainly can enroll as a student of the courses. However, for some of us who wants to earn this, the destination, besides education, there's other requirements. There's three total requirements. First is education. You have to take X numbers of hours to meet that requirement. The second is what we call is a portfolio requirement, meaning in order for us to grant someone the CCIM designation, he or she must be a commercial practitioner. How do we know that? By virtue of what they have done for the past 5 years. Meaning, all the candidates get ready for the final stage earning the designation, he or she must submit a portfolio telling us what they have done for the past 5 years. Things like buy and sell investment properties, lease an office, lease a space, retail, industrial, office, they account, or maybe helping people arranging financing. Those are some of the activities that qualify. So we know at the end of the day is that, John Doe here is actually a commercial practitioner. He did that every single day of his life during the whole year. So that's the second requirement. The third requirement will be a 6 hours final exam. It will be just 80 questions, but it starts from 8 o'clock and ended at 2 o'clock. And at the end of the day, about 4 or 5 o'clock, you will, nowadays is, if you fail, you will get a call from us so you don't show up for the pinning session. But the opportunity is we understand people have sometime at the NC taking an exam, they haven't been doing that for a while. So we allow them to come back the next day to retake, not the same exam. I mean, the same 6 hours, 80 questions, but different questions. Hopefully, they might be a little at ease, maybe doing a little bit better on the next day. So those are the three requirements. So yes, the public can earn a CCIM designation through these three requirements. Also, because we are a member of NAR, we have to be at least we either have to be a full realtor membership, such as I always a member of Houston Association of Realtors. I consider that is a valuable membership for me from that standpoint. But I believe they're using the term affiliate member. So for those people maybe don't want to belong to a local association, they can get into paying some realtors deal under the affiliate membership because we are members of NAR. So that's the requirement. So I think I answered your first question, Lee. So let me see. Those who wants to earn this time definitely should strengthen the value proposition. Yes. The CCIM Institute is now maybe about 54, 55 years. Been around for years and years ago. I was talking about when I first earned my designation. I earned my designation in 1992. So at that time, not a whole lot of people know what the CCIM means. But in today, after 30 some odd years, you can easily, instead of spending your first 15, 20, 30 minutes in your conversation to tell people what a CCIM means, if you walk into a meeting with a CCIM pin, with a CCIM designation, I would say people understand what that means. So you can go straight into presentation of the opportunity of doing some business instead of telling people what a CCIM is, how great we are, and why you want to do business with me. By the time you do all that, time's up, you have to leave. So there's no more discussion on the deal itself. So hopefully I answered that question.
Right, and thank you, Pius. That is all the questions we have. I did want to just reiterate that we have had a number of comments from members who have taken classes from you. Every single one of them are high praise and compliments to your teaching style and your ability to teach. And we, again, are honored to have you come down and teach us as well.
Thank you. I want to make sure this member will talk to my wife about that, so she will be aligned with everybody else. But thank you.
Let her know. Do I need to send a note home with you, or
that will be helpful?
Yeah, it would help. Yes, okay. I'll add this as well. I do know that being a member of the CCIM also affords you access to tools that are quite invaluable. And if you were to try to get those tools outside of CCIM, it would cost you more than the membership. So that in itself is worth the membership as well. I just wanted to throw that out there. Again, thank you, Pius, for joining us today and helping us promote this class. And we really look forward to you coming down and offering this for us.
Thank you for the invite, Lee. Enjoy being here.
Okay, awesome. And then our final speaker for today, before we get into committee reports, is Kimberly Mendoza. She is the Director of Planning and Zoning at the City of Edinburgh, and they are working on a Unified Development Code. So Kimberly, why don't you fill us in and tell us what's going on?
Well, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the invitation to remind everyone, or to invite everyone, to our stakeholder meeting today. So the City of Edinburgh adopted its Unified Development Code on August 6th of 2007. And we are hosting a series of stakeholder meetings as we begin revising and updating our Unified Development Code. We do have a team of consultants, Candid Keys Collaborative and Landmark Services. They are facilitating these meetings. This will provide an opportunity for our consultants to talk with and hear from a cross-section of our community's public and private leadership early in this planning process. So through these informal meetings, our consultants will gain valuable insights into the current issues, opportunities, needs, and priorities of our community as they relate to the regulations that govern the city's physical and economic development. They'll listen for common themes and unique insights based on observations and opinions of some of our most knowledgeable residents. We welcome your awareness of our community's development-related assets and challenges. We invite you to attend the Realtor Broker Stakeholder Meeting today, June 24th, beginning at 1:30 here at City Hall and the City Council chambers. We are located at 415 West University Drive here in Edinburgh. We hope you are able to participate in this very important planning project that impacts our future. We appreciate your interest in the future of Edinburgh and hope you'll attend.
Thank you so much. I remember years ago, McAllen was considering the adoption of a new Unified Development Code, and we were quite instrumental in helping with that. I know that we have members that are quite versed in those topics and can definitely help provide some input for you. And now, so I have just a question to myself, just real quick, since I was engaged with that back then. Is this development code already been adopted by the City of Edinburgh?
So we have one that was adopted in 2007. It's the same consultant that did our code back in 2007. So it's time for updating the code. So we are working with Candid Keys Collaborative and Landmark Services for this code update. So we've provided them with a lot of information. We've had 4 stakeholder meetings already in the last couple of weeks. This will be our 5th one, and then we'll have another one later in the evening with our university area neighborhoods.
So your development code, the proposed changes, have they already been proposed? Are they in print for us to look at, or are we just looking for comments on what we could propose?
Right. So we're looking for comments. We're looking to hear from our residents or from our different stakeholders in the community to hear what are the sections of the code or areas of the code that need some updating. So the consultant is gathering all that information from these stakeholder meetings, and then hopefully in the fall or sometime in September, we'll have some type of a draft from the consultant.
Okay, great. I don't know that we have any questions. I'm assuming not. Okay, because it was such a short report. Thank you, Kimberly. Do you have anything to add?
And I'd just like to add that it is in person. We do have our consultant will be joining us via Zoom. The stakeholder meeting is in person with the consultant on our screens via Zoom. So we hope you can make it. Again, it's at the City Council Chambers. It's on your screen today at 1:30, and usually lasts an hour and a half. So City Council Chambers here at City Hall, 415 West University Drive.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now on to our committee reports, and we'll just get through those. First up is the Budget Committee. I see Dindia is online. So Dindia, why don't you just give us a quick update on the budget from the Budget Committee?
Okay, good morning, everyone. And wow, what a lot of great information. Thanks everyone for being on. It's been valuable resources this morning all the way around. So thank you all the speakers, really appreciate that. So our budget committee meeting, we held that May 25th. And so the big news on that was we made a motion and recommended to the board of directors to use an amount for our investment policy to not to exceed 600,000, which we allocated from our association reserves for investment purposes. And we had been working and in choosing a company, and we've selected Morgan Stanley Greystone Consulting. We also had the opportunity to have Mr. Engel, who's the representative, come in via Zoom and present and share information. And we were also able to establish an investment policy task force, which those individuals have been working diligently along with a strategic growth plan to implement. And then yesterday we did make that a recommendation to the executive committee, and that was approved for the allocation of the 600,000. The reports for our budget, we analyze each month, and we do so as well in that meeting. And we moved forward in getting that approved yesterday. So we're very excited to bring to you, a really nice work plan to have that in the future and really to continue to build and grow our association and really be able to allocate reserves to maintain for our future and be able to have future endeavors. So it's a really good meeting, like I said, and I really appreciate all of our volunteers. They are very committed, and I love the ideas. We've got a great investment policy task force and budget committee.
Thank you,
Any
Dindia.
questions?
Awesome. No, I don't have any, and I don't think we have anything online at the moment either, but thank you for that report and update. If you do have questions, get with the board office here and we'll be able to answer any questions you have. Next up is the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Missy Cardenas is our chairman for that committee. So Missy, update us on what your committee is doing.
Good morning, everyone. And yes, Dindia, that was a whole lot of great information. Kudos to you guys for organizing this because I learned a whole lot on all different types of the fingers of real estate. So thank you so much. This is a great meeting. I'm very, very proud of the Diversity Committee. Here locally, we have collaborated with NAR, with TR, with Harlingen, hoping to do so with Brownsville and hopefully South Padre Island for educational purposes. You'll be hearing about that a lot coming up. So this last month we met and we we're starting up a lot of neat and exciting ways to be able to learn about diversity, equality, and inclusion. And sometimes the subject can get a little bit difficult to talk about because of, the sensitivity of it. So thinking of great ways to be able to educate ourselves and make ourselves a bit more easier to work with all different types of people in different circumstances. We came up with some great ways to be able to do that. And of course, who doesn't love a big screen TV? So if you learn something great and you win a TV, I mean, it's win-win. Excuse the dogs in the background. Y'all know how it is over here. So in April, it was Fair Housing Month, and we had the names of members who completed the Affordable Fair Housing Challenge by May 31st. They were entered into a raffle, and the names were added to a wheel, and we did a live spin during one of our GMAR Connect meetings, and the lucky winner of a 43-inch Web OS UHD TV was David Lozano. So congratulations, David. Thank you for everyone who completed the challenge. We will be continuing to have little fun ways of being able to educate ourselves and complete these challenges. And really, the biggest part is that we not only gather or gain education and experience doing these challenges, but the big winners are our clients and the community that we serve. So thank you so much. We do have some, that was Bailey. Y'all know Bailey already. So we do have some events coming up in the short while, and the big one is Mr. Dedman, who has agreed to be one of our big speakers for our event. And that should be coming up shortly. We don't have a date for it, but this will be some of the big collaborations that we have with our sister associations. So I love to see that we have camaraderie and we have excitement in getting to know what DEI is and how we can better serve each other. So if y'all have any questions, please feel free to give me a call or post here in the chat, send me texts, smoke signals, whatevs. I'm here to serve. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Missy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all the hard work that you put in this, and you do it with such style and grace. Thank you so much. Next up is our Education Committee. Monica Rodriguez is not available for us today. She's the chairman, so we will just turn it over to
The other Monica.
So Monica, just fill us in on what's going on with Education Committee right now.
Well, the Education Committee is working hard to get everybody ready to for the rest of the year. First and foremost, Code of Ethics. December 31st is the deadline for Code of Ethics. And we are every month, we are sending out emails, letting people, brokers and agents know who still haven't completed their Code of Ethics, along with classes that will help them fulfill those classes. But really easy, the C2EX program helps you complete your Code of Ethics requirement. I believe that we had, I don't remember the exact number, but it was about 200 members who still had not completed it. Brokers, look out for the list that we've emailed you of your agents within your office that have not completed it so that you can help us ensure that they complete that requirement. Secondly, and probably most importantly, wanted to make sure that we express to our members that we are allowing broadcast classes. We are allowing members to come in and take the broadcast classes from our office. We understand that there may be confusion about whether we are open or not open. If you want to take a broadcast class and you want to do it from here, from our office, you don't have the equipment or internet or something, whatever's transpired, or you feel like coming into the classroom here helps you focus more. I mean, I know a lot of people that's the truth, and that's how they work. So if you want to come in and take classes, we are doing those. We are making those available. We've had members coming in throughout the week, pretty continuously over the last couple of weeks. So please feel free to come and take the classes in person. We are hoping, and now just because the question has been asked, we are only allowing live classes when the instructor is doing them. If the instructors are not teaching live classes, or they're not comfortable coming in person, or they've taken a policy that they're just never going to go back to in live, we can't really force them to do that. But we are definitely looking at, I believe, ABR is going to be in person, and I believe that's Mac is going to be teaching that class. So that's very important. So please look out for our live classes. They will be picking up. Our next GRI will be live, which I believe is in October.
Late September.
Late September.
Okay.
And Berto's in the room, by the way. So, please, we are absolutely working as hard as we can, and we are open for business.
Well, I just want to go back to your first item. Having been the former CEO, I am aware of how difficult it is for the staff to be able to communicate with all of our members. Not that they don't do a great job, not that you don't get the information out there, but a lot of times our members just won't read the email. And for those of you who don't know, staff, and that's not just at the local level, but at the state and the national level, they have an acronym. It's RDR, Realtors Don't Read. And that's the problem, is that you guys will not read your emails. You will not do that. So here's the one thing I'm asking brokers to do. As a broker, I'm also looking at my agents, looking at their education requirements, and I also had to follow up with the Code of Ethics requirements and ensure that every one of my agents has completed the Code of Ethics requirements. We've got until the end of this year before that is
Current cycle,
yeah, until you're in trouble at that point, I guess, really. It's the current cycle. So do, as a broker, check with your agents, make sure that they've all done their Code of Ethics, and help the board out, because the board is doing a great job, but they can only go so far. And if the agents won't read those emails, and they won't read the information that we put out from the board, then the information doesn't get to them. But as your broker, as their broker, you can communicate with them on just at least one more level, and hopefully we can just address this for every member of our association. Okay, and finally, not finally, we still have several to go, but MLS committee is up. David Casares is the chairman of the MLS committee. David, give us an update on what's going on with MLS.
Rodney beat me to it. Pretty much all of that.
Well, thank you, David. We'll go on to the next.
Right? On the back end, with the MLS committee, we're actually working very hard trying to figure out a best way to incorporate all of the new, I guess, evolutions of what's been going on with MLS rules and regulations. So we're having to revisit the rule writing for the digital platform to be able to check all of the data, make sure everything's secure and safe and all that stuff. In conjunction with that, it's bleeding into the CCP violations and other situations that we're seeing for coming soons and all that good stuff. So we're having to go back and revisit all of those fine schedules and also the rule rights for them. It's a tedious process because it has to translate from the published word from NAR and TAR and us locally, and translating that to a digital platform to where it can monitor and help us fix that information, making sure that all of our listings that are being published are accurate and up to date. So it's a lot of tedious work, but the committee is working very diligently on all of it. Just stand by. We are still in a fluid situation, so.
Very good.
Oh, one comment. I don't know. I was hoping that Monica would have mentioned it since she was talking about education, but as far as, well, actually, you know what? I don't know if Juan's going to mention it. I'll leave it alone. You're good. Member engagement.
Okay, Juan, you're going to be up, so get ready. Whatever it is he was going to talk about, make sure you cover it. Okay.
There you go.
So next up is Juan De La Garza. He is the chairman for the Member Engagement Committee. Juan, give us an update on what's going on with member engagement.
So good morning, everybody. We met on June 7th, and pretty much we had a quick, short meeting. I'm going to give you an update on our membership stats. As of the end of May, we're at 1,280 primary MLS members. And as a total, we just passed over 1,500. So congratulations to the board and all of us. And next item that we do have as well is, so the association is putting together pretty much what's going to be like an FAQ that's going to go out to membership and brokers. So we're urging brokers that are also recruiting new members to pretty much educate their new agents as to fees, hours, and the responsibilities that they have to their new agents, and not have them call the board office and, I guess, have the board office give them the information as to basic questions. How do I join the association? How much do I have to pay to join the association? What is a new member orientation? How do I sign up? What type of membership should I apply for? What other requirements do I need to complete my membership? And how do I get my membership? So the board office is getting a lot of calls, and it's just, it's pretty much on repeat. And we feel that should be that all those questions should start off at the broker level, and then at that point we did have recommendations from our committee as to maybe having YouTube videos and how-tos on our member portal and Clarity. So we're working on that to upload upload some information on PDFs and how-to videos, so members don't have to call the association as often, and then you can answer your own questions pretty much off of the portal. And the next item, we are going to be working with the PR committee in reference to what's her name? Clarissa Guerra had brought up the membership benefits cards. So we're going to be working with her in completing that. And our next meeting is going to be on July 28th. So if anybody would like to join, feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Great, Juan. Thank you. And thank you for kind of helping out with the Public Relations Committee as well, because Clarissa's not here, but that's you guys have been doing a lot of great work. Again, we had the Board of Directors meeting just recently, and I was really excited about the efforts to make the entrance into GMAR a lot smoother and easier for new licensees coming into the association. So again, great work. Next up is the nominating committee. Jonathan Lindley is the chairman for the nominating committee. What's going on with nominations this month?
All right, thank you, Mr. President. It's that time of year again, guys. We're going to be, at this past board meeting, as everybody just said, that we just had. Thankfully, the nominating committee was approved. Emails will be going out, invites will be going out starting on June 28th through July 9th. Those invites will be going out. We're looking for the association to get involved. We have 2 spots for directors coming available. Treasurer, secretary, and president-elect. We're looking for the next form of leadership, the next wave of leadership. Interviews for those candidates will be on July 22nd. Myself and the nominating committee will sit down with each candidate one-on-one, ask some interviews, why they want to participate, kind of what's expected of them as well. The August general membership meeting, which will be August 19th, the slate of officers and directors will be announced and nominations will be accepted from the floor. Following that, September 2nd through September 6th, the notice of candidates will be emailed to membership as in accordance with our bylaws. And then, as we've done in the past, electronic voting will be September 20th through September 22nd, with the results being revealed September 23rd at our annual membership meeting. If anybody has any questions, if anybody is interested in running for one of the positions that's available, be on the lookout for that email that's going to be coming shortly. If you have any questions about the positions that are available, feel free to reach out to me or to our CEO, Monica, or President Lee Jinks on that as well. And with that, Mr. President, concludes my nomination committee report.
Thank you, Jonathan. I wanted to just reiterate, everyone, this is a volunteer-led organization, and without volunteers, then we have no leaders. So do consider stepping up and filling in where those of us who have volunteered our time and efforts to this association, we just need to continue to have good leaders throughout the years to come. So do consider that. Next up is Political Affairs. Sergio Dame is the chairman of that committee, but he's not available today. And so it kind of leaves it up to Monica and I to kind of fill you in. I do know that there were, being the political involvement committee member, I do remember seeing the results of the reforms that we were fighting for this past year. I know HOA reform is one of the biggest ones in order to allow, well, I would say a little more freedom to homeowners. HOAs have had kind of a hold on us over these years with exorbitant fees for transferring. So this is something that we were able to address this past year in the legislation that allowed us to be a little more transparent with HOAs and kind of restrict some of the hold that they have on the members of their associations there. That's probably the biggest one, but I'm not really off the top of my head. I don't remember any of the others.
Well, I know that some of the concerns, so through the end of June, we've had congressional meetings taking place virtually. And so those have been, I think last week and the beginning of this week, there were several meetings. I know that we are also in Texas still looking for the special called sessions, which are going to be coming in regards to redistricting. So that's some of the information with political affairs. And, you know, we just, we're still on a hold to see what the final results, because even things that were legislative priorities, even if they weren't passed, they can still be brought back and added into bills during special sessions.
Right. And of course, we're talking about the state level, and of course you were talking about national as well. But you know, Kimberly was on a little earlier this morning, and this is at the local level. If you want to get involved with the political aspect of your community, obviously today at 1:30 is one really good way to do that, is to get involved with the local community and what they're doing with respect to policies and procedures within the community. In this case, the Unified Development Code.
Right. And join, I mean, we have the Political Affairs Committee with our organization, and you know, we want people who are willing to provide their perspectives. We have other city elections coming up in November, and we may, as an association, decide to get involved in those. So if you're interested and want to get active in a committee and politics is something that you have an interest in, please join. And that is the best way to have your voice and your input included in decisions by the association.
That's correct. Okay, so we have just a couple more committees to go. The TREPAC committee has a report. Jonathan, I know that you were going to give the report for the TREPAC committee, and so let me introduce you once again and update us on what's going on with TREPAC.
It would help if I was unmuted. TREPAC, we're doing very well so far in terms of our investments. As you all know, we just had the fishing tournament in April, end of April, beginning of May. We had 59 teams, guys. That's exactly what we had in 2019. So coming out of COVID, that's phenomenal. We raised just over $32,000 for investments off of this one event. It was great to see Texas Realtors leadership there. We had participants from associations across the state. And there was even a comment made that our NAR president-elect next year, Mr. Kenny Parcells, is interested in participating. To our knowledge, this is the only fishing tournament statewide that's TREPAC. So props to Nick Cantu for setting this up a few years ago. But to the point that we're getting state leadership, state NAR recognition. And Monica, did Zillow participate in it this year?
I'm sorry, we were on mute.
No worries, no worries. No, it's did Zillow participate this year or no?
They did, yeah, this
Yeah,
last year
so-
they did.
Yeah, so guys, we even have Zillow coming down and participating in our fishing tournament. Again, props to Nick Cantu for all that he's done. And the Tree Pack committee, the PR committee, and everybody that has helped put this tournament on. In terms of participation, we are at 25% of the association participating in Tree Pack. That is below what the state is. State is at 50%. In 2019, we were just under state at 49%. So guys, it's a $35 investment to get you into Tree Pack. It's less than 10 cents a day. You know, if real estate is your business, then Tree Pack needs to be part of your business. If you all have any questions about what Tree Pack is or how to get involved with Tree Pack, feel free to reach out to myself, our Tree Pack chairman, Mr. Mac McFarland, Lee Jinks, who's a longtime supporter of Tree Pack, or the association. But back on the fishing tournament, the dates for the fishing tournament are announced for 2022. It'll be April 22nd and 23rd. We got a new location. We're going to be at the Cameron County Amphitheater. It's going to allow us to host more people. It's going to be a great venue. For those of you that don't know about it, they're hosting a lot of concerts there. They got food trucks set up. So it's going to be a really, really great event at a new venue. We hope to see everybody out there. And then just to reiterate, again, if you want to know what Tree Pack is or how you can get involved with Tree Pack, feel free to reach out to me. Again, our Tree Pack chairman, Mac McFarland, our president, Lee Jinks. And then hopefully in the August membership, we will be having, and I haven't talked to him yet, so I'm going to put him on blast here, Adrian Arriaga Jr., to come out and talk about his recent trip to the NAR President's Circle. President's Circle is another form of investment for RPAC. It's a great networking event, and hopefully Adrian can be there to share a few words about his experience and what being a President's Circle investor is all about. But as you can see here on your screen, the Tree Pack Committee is working to bring more events to you. This one here is painting parties. Monica, I'll turn it over to you since this was your idea.
So we have the painting parties that we talked about. We put an announcement in the GMAR Connect, and there were so many people so excited about it. We finally have the different investment levels and what you receive for those different investment levels. And this information will be emailed out to everybody and posted. So please keep an eye out on it. And there were several people in the comments who were already interested in hosting. We're going to be contacting you to schedule your painting party. So we're excited to get those going and working to protect private property rights through a lot of fun and food and just camaraderie and in-person events.
Awesome. And so, Monica, we have just a couple more committee items, but I'm going to let you wrap that up and then we'll give announcements. So we've got, you got a couple items on the PR committee, which is the 5K, I think you were telling me about.
Yeah, it's 5K. So the PR committee had committed to working this Saturday at the DHR. They have a 5K run that is taking place to benefit cancer. And the PR committee is going to be there starting at 7 a.m. handing out water to runners. The PR committee is volunteering, but anybody else that wants to come and volunteer as a realtor, you're welcome to. You would not be able to hand out anything to runners other than the water. So but come and show that realtors care and that realtors are working hard in the community to help others. So that was something that we wanted to make sure to announce for the PR committee. And shortly thereafter, we will begin our supply drive that we do for Comfort House. So that's something else. And then a really important thing that is being worked on by the PR committee is they're working on a local member benefits card. So they're working with local companies to provide discounts to realtor or GMAR members. And all of that is still being gathered and put together and being worked on, but it's in the process. So that's a really exciting thing that committee has decided to take on this year with the help of the member engagement committee. So we want to thank them for that.
We had a question that, Monica, were you
Oh,
going to
yeah.
address that?
Oh, yes. Going back, there was a question in regards to the FAQs. The question is, would it be possible to add the different membership pricing on the FAQ that was sent out? New agents want to know how much it's going to cost. Unfortunately, the reason that is very difficult is because we prorate according to the date of sponsorship. And so it varies, or it just on any given month and on the date of sponsorship. So that's why it's too complicated to simplify on a form to send out to membership. It'll complicate and make things a lot more difficult to understand than just us saying, okay, because you were sponsored on this date, this is how much it is.
Okay, do we have any other reports other than the announcements that we have?
The YPN committee also has a tailgate that is scheduled for June the 30th. Do you want to show the flyer, Humberto? We've posted it, we've sent it out, but on June the 30th at the RGV Toros is having a game, and we are going to be hosting a tailgate for that event. And I think it was the blue next to the PDF at the very bottom.
Oops,
It's already opened. One more over.
here we go.
There you go. There you are. So he's about to share it. And so if you have any information, or if you want to join, it starts at 4 p.m., I believe, in the parking lot at HEB Park. And then after that, the game kickoff is at 7. You can go into the InfoHub or member portal, and in the member portal, you can purchase the ticket to the game. We're also going to be having a cornhole competition, and buy-in to that tournament is $25, but you're going to have fun. And there isn't a time in a networking event that we don't have when there isn't fun with realtors. I mean, just come and join us out there. Hey, a challenge office. I think you can challenge another office to come out and compete. So by all means, join us.
Okay, and so we have a list of announcements, but I want to just cover 2 of them specifically. Coming up in August is our general membership meeting. It will be a live event. That's August 19th will be our live general membership meeting. Again, August 19th. And then, of course, that'll set up for our annual meeting, which is September 30th, also a live meeting. Again, our annual meeting, of course, is where we will get the revelation or the revealing of the winners of the election that will be held just prior to that. So those are the 2 items that I wanted to cover. Again, general membership meetings and annual membership meeting. That's August 19th and September 30th. Anything else before we sign off?
Nope. I hope everybody had learned a lot.
Yeah. Well, this is a full meeting. I was going to say I'm exhausted, but anyway, no, it's a good meeting. We had a lot of really good information, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you guys soon.
Bye, Nancy.